In this video, I'm going to run through the techniques used in this shawl that I'm wearing right now. It's called the Zaden Spring Shawl, and it is a free pattern sponsored by KPC Yarns using their brand new yarn called Lovat. And these are the colors of, let me try to do this. These are the colors of Lovat. It comes in 6 kind of subtle, beautiful colors. You can close your eyes and pick 3 for this shawl, and they're definitely going to look good together. This is a cotton cashmere silk yarn. And when I was designing this shawl, I was thinking, how do I just show off the drape of this? I mean, that's what it is about this. It's kind of a heavy, well, not heavy like winter heavy, but there's just this heaviness to it that gives it the drape, which is why I used it in seed stitch, so it'd lay flat and show the yarn. Delight to work with, really nice yarn, and KPC is running a special on this yarn until May 15th, 2018, so depending on when you're watching this. But you can click the little eye in the upper right-hand corner to go to my website. I'll have more information about the promotion and a place to download your free pattern to follow along. And KPC is now running 2 websites. They have KPC Canada that serves North America, and then their main website that serves the rest of the world. And I'll have links to both of those on my website if you click through. Yeah, it seems like KPC was getting yarn out quickly to everyone who orders from their main website, but now I think it's even faster for North America since they have the Canadian website. Anyway, I'm going to put this at a skill level of advanced beginner. If you can knit and purl, I'm going to run through everything else with you. This is knit on the bias, and it's seed stitch and garter stitch, kind of shake it up with that. And when you finish, this is meant to be like a sweater alternative. I have it wrapped around my neck right now, but when I've been wearing it, I've been putting it over my shoulders, kind of just to, well, it's springtime, you know, especially if you live up north right now, you know, springtime, whatever, is it going to be cold, is it going to be warm? You need something to throw on. And that's what I was thinking about when I designed this. Anyway, next up, we're going to get started with the cast on and the first few rows. And so go ahead and get your pattern and order your yarn, and the cast on's up next. Okay, we are ready to get started. And before we get into the cast on, I want to show you a few different things about the shawl. Well, let's just go ahead and take a look. Okay, here is a close-up. And we, throughout the shawl, we have a garter stitch border and seed stitch in the middle. And then we run into a garter stitch area and then back to seed stitch. And then the whole thing is reversed on the opposite side, and we go back into garter stitch and seed stitch, and then back down to boop, 1 stitch at the edge. And that's how we maintain the bias on this. But I want to show you, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Let me show you the colors of the yarn. These are the gorgeous colors. I'm telling you, when I was picking these, like KPC, a lot of times they'll have like 40 or 50 colors when they with any given yarn that they have. And this one, they just have 6. And the yarn is a little tweedy. It has a little bit of flecks of other colors in it. It's really pretty to use. And honestly, if you just pick 3 colors with your eyes closed for this shawl, you'd end up with a great looking shawl because the colors work so well together. Okay, let's get right into the makeup of this shawl. Look what I made. Because the whole shawl doesn't fit very well on camera. I happen to have this paper that's just this size, this graph paper, so this works really well for explaining what's happening. Okay, as I showed you when we were looking at the shawl, we maintain a garter stitch border the whole time. And we start here with a single stitch, and this is an increase section where you're increasing on both sides every other row. And then we get into the garter stitch section where we're no longer working seed stitch and we're still increasing on both sides. Then in the middle of the garter stitch, we switch to the straight section where you're increasing on this side and decreasing on this side, and that's how we maintain this straight section while still knitting on the bias. So the knitting is actually going like this. That's what a row looks like. That's if you followed a row. That's the angle that it's at. And then we get down to here. We switch back to garter stitch and this color. we knit 6 ridges, then we go into the decrease section where we're decreasing on both sides. We switch to this blue again, or whatever color you choose, and we decrease back down to 1 stitch. So that is how the whole thing's put together. Let's go ahead, and of course everything is written out row by row in the pattern for you. So that's what I want to do next, is just work the first few rows with you, because I think that's probably the hardest part. Once you get past the first few rows and you kind of get into the flow of it, it becomes kind of second nature. You can watch Netflix and knit at the same time. So you start with your, I'm calling it the second accent color, or accent color B, or this is accent color 1, sorry, and then the next one's B. It's okay, it's in the pattern. Don't let me confuse you. We're going to start with a single cast on stitch so that we have a nice sharp corner. And I recommend using a row counter for this. And row 1 is KFB, which is knit front back. And I'm going to go ahead and pull in this second sample I have here just to demonstrate this stitch, if you're not familiar with it. It's a 1 stitch increase. You put your needle in and knit normally, but leave the old stitch on the left needle. Swing the tip of your needle around to the back loop of that stitch, wrap it, and pull it through, and you're left with 2 stitches instead of 1. It's a 1 stitch increase, like I said. I have to get this sample back to the state it was in so I can show this. I can use this again. But if KFB is new to you and you want a really slow demonstration of it, I'll go ahead and give you a link here to my video on KFB. Okay, so row 1, we are going to KFB and double the number of stitches to 2. And then row 2, we just knit those stitches. Row 3, we're going to KFB twice, once into each stitch. And here's something I do when I'm doing KFBs, especially with a yarn that has so much cotton in it. I wrap the stitch and pull it through, put my needle into the back loop of the stitch, and really give that stitch a tug to tighten up the first half of the stitch. And then I'm going to knit 4. And then I'm going to KFB. You get in the pattern here, we're increasing on the edges every time. Knit 2, every right side row rather. KFB. And then the wrong side row, knit 6. And now it's KFB, knit 4, KFB. Okay, then KFB, knit 6. We're still just in garter stitch here. We haven't started the siege stitch yet. KFB, and then knit 10. Okay, on row 11, I have us stopping and doing a few things. First, you see that we have a nice little triangle going. It's exactly what we wanted. This is the corner of our shawl. It's a nice sharp point. It looks good. And in the pattern, I tell you, go ahead and get a safety pin or a little clippy marker and mark the right edge of the work. I encourage you to use a row counter. But this is a great tool. Every time you pick up your work and you're ready to work a row, and if this is on the right side, you know you're on a right side row. And in this pattern, all the action happens on right side rows. All the increases, decreases, everything happens on a right side row. So just in case you get lost in your pattern, you're not sure, this is how you tell. So on this row, we're going to work the only make one stitch in the whole pattern because we need to go from an even number to an odd number of stitches to continue. So I'm going to KFB, knit 4, and I'm going to make one. And I'm going to make one left just because they are my favorite. I'm going to pick up the bar between the 2 stitches, put it up on the left needle from front to back, and then knit that stitch through the back loop. And that's the only one we're going to work in the whole pattern. But if you would like a really slow review of the make one stitch, I'll give you a link here to that video. Knit 4, KFB. And then the wrong side row, you're just going to knit 13 on all the stitches. And that is our little garter stitch corner. And from here on, it's the garter stitch edge and the seed stitch in the middle. So let's go ahead and take a look at the pattern so that this is clear. For this section, for the increase section here, each row starts out with parentheses with some instructions in there, and then seed stitch, and then more parentheses at the end with more instructions. Everything here and here is the garter stitch border, and everything in the middle is seed stitch. And I have it written out, so you're just repeating row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, back to row 1. Everything's written out for you, so it's really clear, but it's going to be helpful if you're new to seed stitch. It's going to be helpful to be able to recognize where you are in seed stitch, because it's knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. And I have this big sample knit up in wool, obviously not the Lovat yarn, so that I can show you what the different stitches look like. When you're looking at the stitches on the needle, look just below and you'll see V's and you'll see stitches that have little scarves tied around their necks. I'm sorry, I hope my producer is cutting out these coughs. It is definitely allergy season here in Austin. I'm sorry about that. So we have the V's and the scarves. When you see a stitch with a scarf around its neck, that is a purl. When you see a V under it, that is a knit. And when we're working seed stitch, you're going to knit the opposite of what you see. So this first stitch is a V, which means it's a knit. So I'm going to purl it. And the next one, of course, is a purl. So I'm going to knit it. And then you just continue on from there. The next stitch has a V under it. It's a knit, so we're going to purl it. And then knit the next one. And of course you get into the swing of it. The point is that you're going to put it down, go answer the phone, come back and you want to figure out where you are. And if you can read the knitting, you'll see where you are. You won't have to count back from the beginning. Okay. That's reading your seed stitch. And so next up, let's talk about changing colors or changing yarn balls, because not in the first section you have enough yarn, you won't have to change to a new ball, but in the long section you're going to need to you're going to run out of yarn and need to use the same color. Not changing colors, using the same color, just getting a new ball of yarn. And so there's something that I've been doing in this that I like. Normally you change change yarn balls on the edge stitch. But when I was changing colors, I keep saying changing colors, changing yarn balls, sticking with the same color. I was doing it a couple of stitches in, which left me with a really nice, even edge. And I thought it looked really good. Let me just show you what I did. You don't have to do this, but I found that it looked pretty good. So I'm out of yarn. I need a new ball of yarn in this blue. I'm going to KFB. And then knit one, still using my old yarn. And now I'm going to attach the new ball of yarn here. And after I do that, you know, I finish with my edge stitches, but while it's still on the needle, I'm going to tie these two ends together. Whoops, there's my end. Into a tidy little knot. And in the next section, we'll talk about weaving those ends in. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to show you tying the knot in the next little bit, where I'm actually going to talk about changing color. I kept saying changing color when I wasn't actually changing color. Now I'm actually going to change color. Okay. My whole corner here is finished, and I actually am ready to change to my second accent color. And I have it here. And we need to change color on the edge stitch this time. So I put my needle in, grab my yarn, leaving about a 6-inch tail, throw that around the back needle and pull it through. But remember, we're on a right side row and I need to KFB this stitch. So I'm going to swing the tip of my needle around to the back of that loop and knit it. And I can tighten everything up. And then knit a couple more stitches, and now we're going to tie our knot. And I'm just going to tie the two ends together. You tie it in a half knot and pull it pretty tightly, and then tie it in the double knot and really pull it tightly. And the reason we're doing this is because this yarn is mostly cotton. And if we just wove the end in, it wouldn't stick nearly as well. And then you just continue on with this color. And this is garter stitch, so it's knitting all the stitches. Okay, the last little thing I want to show you in this section is counting garter ridges. And this is something, if you haven't done it before, it's something that will help you out a lot in a lot of different knitting that you do. Because when you're working in garter stitch, and this pink color here is the garter stitch, every time you work 2 rows, it leaves you 1 ridge. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ridges, or 24 rows. It just makes it really easy to count garter stitch if you're just counting ridges instead of rows. And a lot of patterns will tell you to just work a certain number of ridges. They won't even address the number of rows, so it's a good thing to recognize. But it's really easy. It's a lineup of purl bumps, and those are your ridges. And in this particular pattern, we're going to work 6 ridges, or 12 rows, in the increase section, and then the last 6 ridges in the straight section. And that's all spelled out in the pattern. Once you've finished your shawl, you're so close to wearing it. We just have a little bit of finishing work to do. And as promised, I'm going to show you how to weave in the ends, and we're going to talk a little bit about washing and blocking. So let's take a look. Okay, we're going to use this sample again. And the first thing we're going to talk about, or I'm going to show you, is when you've not changed colors, but attached a new ball of yarn in the same color, and I've shown you how to do that a couple of stitches in to leave the edge really nice looking. Now we're going to weave those ends in, and it really doesn't matter front and back on this, but I'm going to pop these to the back just out of force of habit, almost. Okay. And this is how I like to weave in cotton ends so that they don't go anywhere. The first thing I'm going to do is separate the plies half and half. And this is 6-ply yarn, so it's 3 and 3. And then take half of those plies and put them on a tapestry needle. And again, I'm doing this because this is slippery, mostly cotton yarn, and there isn't enough silk or cashmere to give it that stick for weaving in ends. So we're doing these extra steps. Then pop that end just like one stitch away from where it was. And tie those plies together in a single knot, pulled a little bit, then a double knot, pulled hard. Not so hard that you break the yarn, but pretty strongly. You can also tie it in a third knot. I didn't on this shawl. Then you can cut it short, and it ends up looking really good. You see that? Especially after you wash it, it ends up looking really good. You almost can't tell. And then you do the same thing with the other end, same thing with all of the ends. When you have the ends here down on the point, I've lost my tapestry needle now, but just weave it up a little bit and then do the technique. You don't want to have any little ends poking out on the edge. Just, you want this line to look really good. Well, you know what? I'll show you. I don't have to use that exact tapestry needle. I'll find a different one. Okay. This is a much bigger one. I am just going to, nothing fancy, just take this in from the edge. Make sure my point stays sharp there, and then do the technique I did there while separating the plies half and half. So you'll get your ends woven in, and then it's time to wash and block. And because this is seed stitch, a little bit of garter stitch, this isn't going to require a lot of work from you to get it to look square and straight and everything. It's just going to kind of lay that way. And the way that I did mine was I filled a sink with cool water, a little bit of wool soap, let it soak, and then squeezed out the excess water. I actually put mine in, I have a top-loading washing machine, I can do this. I put it in the top-loading washing machine and just ran it on spin to get the excess water out, and then set it out flat to dry. And there was no need to use any pins or anything. It just set out flat to dry, and it looked great. It actually dried really quickly. I was, well, cotton, cashmere, silk yarn, now we know, dries pretty quickly. And then it was ready to wear, and it stayed, it didn't need any steaming or anything before this video. It's just, this fabric has stayed really nice looking, even though it's been crammed into a bag. Good thing to know. Anyway, many thanks to KPC for sponsoring this video and free pattern. Again, click the little eye in the upper right-hand corner where there'll be more information on the promotion that they're running until May 15th, 2018, and links to both the KPC main website and their Canadian website. Good luck.